Welcome back.
Glad to be here.
Favorite week. I love talking about books.
Mm-hmm.
So this time we did our first fiction book. What'd you think?
I loved it. I think it's a great book. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. So we read Lessons in Chemistry.
Yes.
And yeah, I know it's got a great cover. It's
Yes,
really,
it does.
It's
It really does.
Good artwork, all of it.
Mm-hmm.
What did it just? It drew me in right from the beginning.
Yes, it was the same for me. Yeah, I love thinking about all the background with the issues in feminism. I think I immediately draw you in. I thought of my mom. I thought of your mom. I thought of interesting for women of that time period.
Yeah. So, I think it's just so interesting when you think about that, because my mom would not consider herself a feminist, I don't think, in any way, shape, or form. Right. But she was doing the work.
Yes.
Because she was somebody that worked in, first, a secretarial pool, so a very woman-dominated, and then went to computer programming.
Right.
So very male-dominated.
Yes.
And I think, so many of these things, the issues, were just part of her every day.
Right. And they just, managed it.
Managed it, yes.
Yeah. No, I felt, the same. My mom, again, I think would also not say she was a feminist. She ended up majoring in math. She absolutely, today, I believe, would be an engineer. Yeah. That would have been the path, because it so fit her personality. Mm-hmm. She, I think, didn't feel like that was an option. So she ended up, I think, gravitating toward math and thinking the only way to use that would be to teach. Right. And that just wasn't a fit for her personality. Right. So she didn't, and then just finished with this math degree, but I think then didn't know how to use it. That.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Mm-hmm. I mean, so this character is a scientist. Yes. The woman in the Elizabeth is a scientist, and it's just, I mean, it's surprising to me that so much of this actually does still go on. Even the things where, talking about publishing and not using your first name, or maybe using your name or something. I was just reading something recently about, a man said to a woman, "You need to read so-and-so's work." And she's like, "I'm so-and-so." You know what I mean? Just of course that breakthrough would not have been. Right. A woman that wrote it.
Right, exactly. The thinking just isn't there. And we still have many, many more, battles to win with that. But it has come a long way. And so that is interesting to see. And I thought, so Elizabeth Zott's take on it all was interesting, because she certainly saw it and just said, I'm not going to follow all of these rules.
I'm not trying to fit in with any of this.
No, but then there were times and moments when she would fall into it herself, because that's what we all do, right? This is the world we're in. Her first reaction to rowing. Women don't row. Yeah.
Well, it's hard, though. It's hard to imagine when we've never thought of that. We as a woman, you've been told and so many times that that's not something that women do. Right. And even that, I think about, having raised a daughter, and you've raised 3 daughters. It's what did I instill in them? And did I do it right? And, in terms of, I want them to think they can do anything, but I also want them to think it's perfectly fine to be a woman in any way that you want to be that, right?
Absolutely.
Yes. The nurturing, everything is okay.
It is. Yes, it is. It's okay. So, be you.
Yeah. Right. I was thinking about, so Elizabeth ends up getting pregnant. Her husband, not her husband, because they did get married, but her partner, was killed. And I thought the story about naming the baby was hilarious.
Oh, it was great. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
The baby ends up with the name of Mad, right? And that wasn't the intent, but that's kind of how it turned out. But I do think it's funny. And I think, honestly, some of that, maybe you're going to get to know this soon because your daughter's pregnant, but like,
Yes.
it seems pretty archaic that we still kind of are like, what's the name? One person writes it down. It's permanent.
Right.
Like,
That's true.
Whole thing.
That is, yes.
Like, I don't know. I can see how things happen with that. And like, I always laugh. My mother-in-law used to tell the story of her middle daughter. She goes by her middle name, and she's like, well, the nuns told me I had to. Like, and I was like, did they really?
Right.
Like, is that possible?
Happen? Yes.
And maybe it was. I don't know. Again,
I'm
now
not sure.
it's the 60s, right?
Crazier things, right? But yeah. No, it is interesting. You put this like label on a human and you don't know them yet.
Yes.
So
yeah,
it's tricky.
Yeah. I remember that even like when Sydney was born, because my doctor knew the name that we were going to give her. We didn't know the gender. So when she was born, she saw her first. Yeah. It's a girl, Sydney, right? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I hadn't even seen this human yet.
Right.
But it was funny.
Yes.
How that all came about.
Yeah. That's great.
What were some of the other things? What are some of the things that stuck out to you?
Well, there were so many characters that I loved. I interestingly really loved the character of Miss Frask, I think it is, the HR person, just because her evolution, right? She starts out, and of course you're kind of hating her, and she's holding up these constructs that are oppressing women, and you know. But then she evolves and finds her own self and her own strength. And I love that. I always love a story that characters evolve throughout the story.
It does kind of just go to show that we can all grow in our own ways, right?
Yes.
And it looks different for everybody.
Yes.
But it lifts all of
us. It does.
Right?
Yes.
Like if it happens.
Yes.
So
exactly.
when and if it happens.
Yes. Yeah, how about you?
I just think there's so many things. I can't imagine enduring the like abuse at work. Yeah. I can't imagine it. I mean, I've worked, in situations where I felt like there was male domination going on, things like that.
Yes.
Never anything that could truly be labeled inappropriate.
Right.
But just how insanely angry it made me in a situation where I felt like you're just throwing your weight around.
Right. This is
let alone somebody who is literally, sexual, all these
completely
things.
Assaulted, right.
Completely assaulted. I just go, women did just pick themselves up and move on.
They did.
And it's astounding.
Right.
To me.
And had really no recourse, just had no options.
I know.
And to some extent that's still an issue, or certain,
Yeah, for sure. I'm not saying it doesn't happen anymore. It does.
But it's certainly, we have more recourse, more
I feel like hopefully workplaces are safer
yes, I think
now,
they are
right?
Yes,
like,
yes, absolutely.
I that was a big thing to me. The other, on a different note, kind of, one thing that I thought was funny, because I am like not, I cook, but I'm not like a precise anything.
Yeah.
So I kind of love how she just was like, this is just science. Like, I can make anything through science. And I'm like the complete opposite. Like, I could learn so much from her.
Right.
Going, that this will always do this.
Right. Oh, yes. That was fun.
Yeah.
That was a fun piece of it.
Yeah.
I also love 6:30. Made me want a dog again. So.
Yeah, 6:30, such a great, just a great character also, right? And just a lesson in kind of how human our animals can be and how much love there is to give. And before we started this, we were talking about how many words Ivy has, and I fully feel like she understands everything we say to her, and wants to say things back to us, and exactly how she's feeling about things.
She's just like, come on.
Some dogs are much more expressive than others.
Yes,
hers is usually in a snarky way, but she means well. She knows I'm talking about her right now.
She's like, hey. Right.
Yeah. What about the family tree stuff with Mad? Did you remember that part where they were talking about? I've thought about this a little bit too, because I have a son who's adopted, right?
Mm-hmm.
And some of these assignments that we've done just for so many years can be kind of so hurtful, right, to kids. And even some of the well-intended, the muffins with mom and the blah, 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 right? I was talking to a colleague a little while ago, and she was like, I hate the dad. You know what I mean? Yes. She's a single mom. Like, and it's just like, how do we honor the relationships that, the kids have?
Yes.
But also acknowledge that it does look different.
It looks different. I think it's important, and I think, we're growing there, but it's just hard to get out of those old habits. I hear more and more people say to the kids, okay, take this home to your adult. Using that kind of language that is a little just friendlier in general. But yes, these assignments can sometimes be pretty difficult for some kids. So,
right.
Yeah.
And I just love that she kind of ended up just picking pioneers, right?
That was
to
great.
Be a part of her family tree.
Matt is amazing too, right? And then Elizabeth's such a great mom in that she's clearly going to let her child explore the things she's interested in, and be who she is.
Yeah, so. And the neighbor.
Harriet. Yeah, Harriet's fun too. Yeah,
right, and also supports that in a way that she's got to be going, I don't understand one thing about this. But she was also like gaining strength through that, right? By seeing this how this was all evolving. It was giving her strength through.
Yes, it was. Yeah, to be around it and that was amazing.
Yeah, so fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think. When I think about that kind of stuff, I think more than anything, I just want to say thank you to the women of the 60s and 70s. And, I think sometimes it is hard, some of the things that we rail against or consider like to be too much. Right. I think my mom would have given anything for that opportunity, right? Or even to be able to say something about
the fact
it.
That we can speak out. Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. And that it's powerful when women support each other. I mean, obviously men too. There were characters in the book. Some of the men were, amazing as well. But just that when women support each other, what we can do. Right. That it's, we need this.
Well, and her partner, Calvin, correct? I'm terrible at names. Yeah. He was a really great guy too, right? He was really all in on who she was and all those things, and so I don't know. It's fun, but
it is.
Yeah, so I think overall it's a book that I'm sure I'll read multiple times, honestly. And you said you watched the series also.
I did, yes. And I did it. Typically, I read a book first and then watch a series. And I'm somebody that's okay with that. They don't have to be exactly the same. This was a little bit different because I had watched the TV series first. So I had kind of those images. But I loved it. I loved the show. I love the book more.
Yeah.
Goes, always goes a little bit deeper and you learn the characters a little bit more. But, I enjoyed that.
Yeah. That's awesome.
That was good.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, we will pick another nonfiction book for June. Mm-hmm. So I think for April we're going to go back and finish the next 50 of the 100 things or 100 ways to change your life.
Yep.
And
sounds good.
That's still like drinking out of a fire hose a little bit.
It's a lot. But it's good stuff.
It's great stuff. It's really great information.
Yes.
But plenty of time to get caught back up with that. So
yeah,
cool. Well, thanks for joining me for this. And
so happy to. I love this.
Yeah, we'll be back next month for April already.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Thanks.